Hey everybody, welcome to Wesley Talks, the first ever UTA Wesley video podcast, where we will be inviting UTA students and staff each week to share about their story and their journey of following Jesus. So we're excited to get this started, but before we do, I want to introduce you to the man who came up with the idea. So Cesar, would you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Hi. Yeah, so as Thomas said, I'm Cesar Velez. So I am a senior vocal performance major here at UTA. I was born and raised in the small country of Honduras. I moved to the States when I was 15 years old, finished high school in Houston, Texas, and now I am about to finish college here in Arlington. I chose to do music because it's what makes me the happiest, and I enjoy performing a lot. I came to the Wesley because one of my best friends, Jenny Lynch, shout out, kept insisting for me to come, even though I had a class at the time. And one day, through the magic of pancakes and pancakes alone, I was able to go.
And bacon, pancakes and bacon.
Yes, bacon is really important in the story. It's like the allegory for something or something like that. So I ended up going to the Wesley, and I loved everything about it. How I was welcomed to the community, and as I kept going regularly as the years came by, it was that community and the opportunities that I got to lead and read the Bible and learn about who Jesus is that drew me closer to faith. And now that we're in a global pandemic, eventually to create this hopefully awesome podcast that will allow us to hear the voice of our fellow students.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to give everybody just a little picture of who you are. So I want to ask some of your favorite things. So first, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food, probably fettuccine Alfredo.
With or without chicken?
It has to be with chicken.
Okay. I didn't know that about you. That's one of my top five, probably.
I find myself ordering it a lot, especially like at places where you wouldn't order fettuccine Alfredo, just because you know how like people
pizza.
Oh yeah, well pizza. I mean, but you know how there's people who like go places and they order chicken fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fettuccine Alfredo is my chicken finger.
Is your chicken? Okay. All right. Favorite. Okay, I'm going to give you three options here, and I just want you to pick one of them. Favorite musician, book, or movie?
Favorite movie is Forrest Gump.
Wow. Okay. Favorite animal?
I think the eagle.
Eagle. Okay. Last one. We've all had to do it for class or something. What's the go-to fun fact about yourself?
And a lot of the Wesley people know this. I am able to play two recorders at the same time with my nostrils.
That is the greatest thing.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. So part of the idea of what this podcast will be is not only to just get to know one another in a way that we're not necessarily able to during COVID-19, but also, like I said, to hear the journey of faith that each of us are walking on and the perspective of who Jesus is and who Jesus calls us to be. So you touched on it a little bit, but describe your experience of faith and how you came to know and follow Jesus.
So I grew up Catholic, and it was a very traditional, it was tradition based in my household. Not that it was a bad thing, but it was just how things were. My mom came from a very faith-based background, so she was the one that pushed us going to church every Sunday and doing our first communion and all that stuff. And for me, it was always that thing that I grew up doing that I had to do. But I didn't have an identity in Jesus, and I didn't have an identity as a Christian. When my parents were going through a divorce and things were hard in the family, our church attendance rate dropped, and with that, my knowledge of Jesus and who I wanted to be religious. Through a series of very interesting events that partook my life, among them robberies and moving to a new country, For a couple of years, I knew that I believed in God, but it was never anything more than that. And there had so many questions and distrust in the Bible that I couldn't answer. I couldn't figure out why I had that distrust. And when I came to UTA, those questions were answered. That distrust was taken away, and it was because of community. Honestly, I had never been in such an intentional and such a closely like bonded Christian community as we have at the Wesley and as other campus ministries do at UTA as well. But seeing people who were in a similar or different, there's people who are in similar faith paths than mine and completely different faith paths than mine. But seeing how all of us came together because we wanted to know Jesus through each other was beautiful. And it was through how they treated me and how I wanted to treat them and how we managed to all gather together on Tuesday nights just for Jesus that I came to know his grace. Eventually leading me to work as a counselor in Glen Lake Camp, which is a Methodist camp in Glen Rose, Texas, and then get involved in leadership at the Wesley. And through that community, I have engaged into activities that have allowed my faith to increase. But it's always been that community that's been the cornerstone of my faith and how I've come to know Jesus.
Yeah, I think, having known you for a few years now, like I've watched as you've grown in your relationship with other Christians, you've become more aware of your relationship with Jesus and what his grace at work in your life has looked like. And, we've talked a lot about over COVID-19, what we've lost. And one of those things primarily is our ability to all be together. And you're talking about what Wesley is on campus and the community that it's been for you. And I was a student myself at UTA 2009 to 2012. And, we talk about the Wesley in the sense of like our Instagram little tagline is to be and to make. And it's on our t-shirts, to be and to make disciples of Jesus. And I think that's the feel you get there, that there's something about being together to learn to be a disciple of Jesus, but it's also a community that's on mission together to serve and to love and to extend the grace of Jesus and to make disciples of Jesus. So I love that the Wesley has been that for you. And I love that it's, opened your eyes to faith in a new way and to Jesus in a new way. I want to talk briefly about the last year of COVID life, and just share a little bit about what you've missed the most. And as we answer that question, we're going to get again into why we're doing this podcast. So tell us a little bit about what you've missed the most.
So if my extended biography didn't give it away already, I am a huge extrovert. So being with people, even if we're just sitting watching TV, they don't even have to talk to me. That gives me energy. It fuels me. It's enjoyable for me to be around people. And once the Wesley was gone, because the building couldn't be open because of COVID, I yearned for that. Just being able to go on Tuesday nights earlier than worship started, before dinner even started. Shameless plug, we do dinner. Whenever we open up again, you can come get dinner. But
chicken fettuccine Alfredo. And
we've never had fettuccine Alfredo, but I'll come back
when we're back. When we're back. Yeah.
Just going and seeing people who were there early and catching up and how was your week and all that stuff. And, that being a prime example of God's grace and seeing how we were all growing together and getting to share how I was growing and, seeing others grow helps you see your own growth and so on and so forth. I'm missing freshmen. Because gosh, I was once a very impressionable and naive freshman who, just wanted to survive college. And I think of these younglings who are like coming in and they don't have the fortune that I had and some others had of having these upperclassmen who were very encouraging and very attentive in person. I had a lot of people, both in and outside of the Wesley, who were very encouraging. And and just allowed me to have a really fun freshman year. And it's always fun to see freshmen grow, because I think, you know, the growth from freshman year of high school to senior year of high school is about this big, if comparatively to like this, which is college. And like, to be quite frank, about this much is freshman and sophomore year. Just the amount of growth you do in that first year. And it's exciting to see that, because it puts things into perspective for us, and it's just great to see God working in other people. And all of that happens, you know, on a Tuesday night in that one little building. And it's awesome. And yeah. I just miss it, you know, getting to hear other people's stories.
Yeah, I mean, as director, I haven't known what to do with my life. Without, you know, walking across campus and seeing all of y'all. And, you know, there's the piece of being at the building and being together and being in community, but then you get to hear these awesome stories of like you learning what it is to serve at a summer camp and invest in even younger kids than freshmen, right. Or students going on their first mission trip ever, or serving at Mission Arlington, or starting a Bible study with some of their friends in their dorm, or whatever it might be. These like missional moments of students exploring what it means to influence those around them as they're being influenced by Jesus. And that's a fun deal. So you're missing people, you're missing chicken fettuccine Alfredo. So what, where does Wesley Talks come in? How does it fill the gap for you?
So Wesley Talks is, it's probably going to be the one ever light bulb moment, you know, like when cartoon light bulbs pop in your head, and it involves you, but it doesn't involve you. You were in frame and then you weren't. When you stepped out of frame, I saw the Wesley couches in your office. For those of you who are not aware, the Wesley couches are where, you know, we sit down with Thomas and catch up. A lot of tears have been shed. A lot of laughter has been shared. It's a wonderful place where we have shared our experiences with Thomas, and he has allowed us to, you know, to hear from him, and he has opened himself to us. And
I get to hear these testimonies of Jesus at work in your life, and you sharing Jesus with those around you. Yeah.
Right. And so, because we don't have the ability to constantly hear each other's faith experience, I thought, and this is exactly how I thought it, whoa, that's like talk show vibes. Whoa, Wesley Talk Show. Whoa, Wesley Video Podcast. There were more complicated layers, I promise you, but those are the most important ones. So I said this would be a great opportunity for us to take advantage of, you know, our increased online presence and our increased need for an online presence, and it will allow us to share the stories and the testimonies and the perspectives of other members of the Wesley. And part of that idea is the fact that I have experienced Bible verses differently many a time, where I read the same verse again, maybe months later from when I first hear it, and it's completely different. Maybe because I'm at a different point in my life, or because my perspective changed. What I'm trying to say is, you know, people interpret the Bible differently at different points in their lives, and those different messages and interpretations can hit different people. So if we share, you know, your testimony one week and I share my testimony another week, and we bring 5 different guests, and let's say that each of our testimonies are able to reach 5 different people, we multiply the number of people that our message has reached, and by that account, we are multiplying the amount of sharing of God's word. We're not only allowing others to share their growth, but we're hopefully inspiring growth in others.
Yeah, especially in a time where like Instagram is the primary place that like I'm keeping up with people right now. Yeah. Discord, GroupMe, and Instagram. So Cesar comes to me with this idea, and I mean, I jumped on it immediately. I couldn't be more excited for it. You know, I'm reminded of like the God that we worship. You think of Genesis, like he speaks and creates.
Right.
And so this idea of Wesley Talks, like our community being in conversation, that even while we're separate, like we can create, and we can continue to press into creating relationships with one another, getting to know one another, and getting to know what Christ is doing in one another. So I'm amped for it. So here's the deal, everyone. We're going to commit to each Thursday releasing an episode of Wesley Talks, and our hope is to bring some of you onto the show. So if you would be interested in sharing your story, we want to hear your go-to fun facts and your journey of faith. And if you know someone who has a story that needs to be told, let us know that too. Call them out. we'll reach out to them. So we'd love to hear from you, and we plan to be here every Thursday. So we can't wait to get going. We'll see you guys next week.